Hello, welcome to the Villages, Florida, and a happy new year to everybody. My name is David. I'm a realtor. I live in the Villages, Florida, and every week I take a look at what's happening in the real estate market here. If you're a buyer or a seller, or you just want to be informed about the marketplace here, this is the show for you. Every Monday, we take a look at what happened over the previous week, and we'll give you a long term perspective. I'll show you long term what's been happening to prices here, prices per square foot, inventory levels, days on the market, and many other data points. For those who are not familiar with the villages, we're a 55 plus community, although we do have people younger than that living here. What you get when you live in the villages is basically year round resort style living. We have championship golf courses spread throughout the villages. Similarly, there are over 40 executive golf courses spread around the villages, and there's live music 365 days a year in four separate locations, including holidays. So, if you're looking for entertainment, resort style activities, social activities, shopping, dining, and I think there are over 3,000 clubs currently. So, whatever your interests are, you'll be able to find other people who share them. This show is focused on real estate. It focuses specifically on the multiple listing service. This show does not include any information or data from the village's own internal VLS system. For those unfamiliar with the villages, there are two real estate marketplaces here, the VLS and the MLS. The MLS is the same marketplace you're familiar with from other parts of the country. The VLS is the village's own internal real estate marketplace. It is the only marketplace on which you'll find new homes, but pre owned homes are available both on the MLS and the VLS. This causes both buyers and sellers a problem. If you're a buyer, and you're only seeing VLS properties or you're only seeing MLS properties, you will only be seeing about half of the properties available for sale. Similarly, if you're a seller, you need to decide whether to list on the VLS or the MLS. You are not able to list on both. All of the information on the show is drawn from the MLS. And as I said, we produce the show every week. So make sure that you check the date to ensure that you're getting the most recent information. And if you find this information valuable, please consider liking or subscribing to the channel. It really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. If you're a buyer and you're looking for a good deal, or you're a seller and you're trying to maximize your return, please give me a call or reach out to me at davidisinflorida@gmail.com or davidisinflorida.com. Be happy to answer any questions you have or research any property that you have interest in. So, with that out of the way, let's take a look at what's happening this week. We start every week by taking a look at the yield on the US 10-year Treasury note. The mortgage rate most closely tracks this yield, and since real estate is traditionally financed, the level of interest rates does have an effect on the value of real estate. Currently, we're looking at a 10-year rate of close to 4.62%. We're up by over a percentage point since the Fed cut interest rates starting in September. It's going to be difficult for any real estate market to make progress if interest rates are rising, and as of now, it looks like they are. This chart shows you the effect of the rise in the 10-year rate. You're looking at the 30-year mortgage rate here. And once again, I'll point you to the mid-September period where the Fed lowered rates. We're over a percentage point higher than that now. Certainly appears to me as if we are headed higher from here. Let's now focus our attention on the villages. For those who don't know where we're located, we are in Central Florida. We're about an hour north of Orlando, about an hour or so south of Gainesville, and we're about an hour and a half from the coast, both east and west. So if you desire beach activities, you can certainly get to them, although there's so much to do here in the villages that residents rarely leave. The maps that you're looking at are showing you all active listings on the MLS. The size of the circle denotes the size of the property. There are 5 levels of sizes. And the color of the circle denotes its price per square foot. 5 levels here as well. The lighter the circle, the more expensive per square foot. The darker the circle, the less expensive per square foot. And the larger the circle, obviously, the larger the home. I'm also going to break the villages down into 4 separate areas. You can compare them and see where deals or values might be found. But for now, let's move on to look at all listings as a whole. This is the long-term chart showing you the total number of listings on the MLS system. As of today, there are 558 active listings. This is the highest number that we've ever seen here in the villages. Inventory continues to grow. We'll take a more in-depth look at this inventory coming up. This is the median time on the market for all listings, which this week has jumped to 71 days. We had been hovering around 60 days, which had previously been a peak, but it looks as if this year inventory is going to be staying on the market quite a bit longer. Here we're looking at all listings once again and the median price per square foot, which this week is 256.49. It is interesting to note that the lowest number that we've seen over the last 3 years or so was 256.41. We're barely higher than that this week. I'm going to compare the differences between the different regions of the villages. So let me show you how I've divided the villages into 4 geographic regions. The first is the area that I'm calling the North. This is the area south of 42 and north of 466. This includes the older area of the villages. The second area is the area I'm calling the Mid-North. This is everything south of 466 and north of 466A. Today, probably the most popular area in the villages. The third area is the Mid-South. This is everything south of 466A and north of 44. This area includes part of the newer areas of the villages. And the final area is the newest part of the villages, which is the South. This is everything south of Highway 44. Here we can compare these areas, the north, mid-south, and south. You can see the number of listings, 250 in the north, 70 in the south. You can see that in the north, on the MLS, the smallest available home is 672 square feet and the largest 2,995 square feet. In the south, the smallest is 828 square feet and the largest 2,450. Prices in the north range from 150,000 to 749,000. 340,000 is the median price in the north. In the south, the median price is 400,000. Per foot in the north ranges from 131 a foot to 387. In the mid-north from 193 to 549. In the mid-south from 214 to 707. And in the south from 209 to 528. I do focus a lot on price per square foot on the show. It is important to note that I'm not attributing any value to some amenities that are considered very valuable here, such as views, privacy, and location. A lot of the analysis that I'm doing is really rough in terms of finding deals to investigate and require further investigation. This graphic may be interesting. It gives you some idea as to how price per square foot varies based on the price of the home. So, for example, in the least expensive price segment, the sub $200,000 homes, the least expensive home on a per foot basis is 131, most expensive 275 a foot, and the median 178. And there are 12 homes for sale in that price range. In the $600,000 to $800,000 price range, $236 a foot, the least expensive, 407, the most expensive, 326 a foot is the median, and the number of homes in that price range are 38 this week. We think this metric is illuminating. We keep track of how many new listings there have been and how many homes there have been going pending over the previous 7 days. Last week, there were 48 new listings and 30 homes went pending, which gives us a negative 18. You can see that the blue line is homes going pending, going back about 3 years, and the red line is new listings. You are looking at a smooth 4-week moving average on the graph, but 18 more homes being listed that are going pending is last week's data point. This graph is just a summary of the previous graph. We're looking at the difference between new listings and homes going pending. As I said, last week saw a negative 18. A couple of interesting graphs here regarding homes going pending. Here we're looking at what the price change was for the homes going pending, price change from the original list price. Last week, a 3.96% was the median reduction. You can see that we have been improving over the last 30 or 60 days. This look at pending home sales is a little bit more negative. We're looking at how long the homes that went pending last week were on the market before going pending. Last week, the median time was 56 days. Even though the graph is a smooth 4 week average, you can get some sense as to how elevated 56 days is. This is a very positive graph. We're looking at the median price per foot on the homes going pending last week. The graph is a 4 week average. The number you see of 267.88 is the actual weekly number. And you can see that in spite of the fact that it's been pretty jagged, over the last 7 days at least, the median price per square foot for the homes going pending was improving. Now we'll look at the homes that closed last week. They numbered 17. Once again, the graph you're looking at is a 4 week moving average. 17 is the actual number of homes closing last week. Sales are not increasing. We're probably at the low point in terms of activity for the year. Things usually improve in the villages in the first 3-4 months of the year. Hopefully, we see that pattern continue in 2025. We don't usually include this chart, but it does seem to me as if it's edging higher. We're looking at homes closing over the last week, how long they were on the market, and the median time on the market for the homes closing last week was 45 days. Not unusually high, but it certainly looks as if the time on the market has been steadily increasing. Here we get some idea as to seasonality. We're looking at how many sales per week. The first year in dark blue is 2022, light green 2023, red is 2024, and the blue mark for 2025 is not visible, but it is 17 for the first week of the year. As you look at this graph, it certainly appears that for the first 15 to 17 weeks of the year, sales per week steadily increase. We'll all be watching closely to see if that is indeed the case this year. This is a graph showing us how many weeks of inventory, MLS listings, and sales represent. This week, almost 33 weeks of inventory. The highest that we saw was close to 50, but that was the week of Hurricane Milton, so I'm sure a lot of closings were canceled or delayed. We're getting very close to a noteworthy event. This is the percentage of village listings on the MLS that have reduced their asking price from the original asking price. This week, it's barely over half. 50.09% of listings have reduced their asking price. We haven't been below 50% for quite some time. And this is the median percentage decrease from the original asking price. Currently, the median price reduction is a 4.09% reduction. If you're a buyer and you're trying to find a good deal here in the villages, please reach out to me at DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. Be happy to help you or research a property for you. Similarly, if you're a seller and you're curious as to why you should list on MLS versus VLS, please reach out to me, DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. Be happy to answer any questions you have and advise you as to which marketplace will be better for you. I do live in the villages. I welcome any interaction with village residents, and hopefully some of you will soon be joining us as residents. I wish you all a very, very happy new year. I hope it's prosperous and healthy. I hope you accomplish whatever goals or resolutions you've made. And I hope if you have an interest in moving to the villages, to hear from you. Take care.